NXT starts off with Femi. He comes out, was basically trying to address, the four men who attacked him on Avengers Day. He wanted them to come out, but then you end up getting Moose, the TNA X Division champion. He comes out, and basically they end up having a back and forth. And basically the premise of the back and forth is basically who's the more dominant one, and they need a match to prove who's more dominant. That's basically the promo. It wasn't that long of a promo. It was very short, but that's basically what the promo was. It was basically both guys, trying to state that they're more dominant than the other, and that they need to have a match to prove it. Um, I like the idea. Now I don't know much about Moose. I've heard of him before, but I never really watched anything. I never watched any of his matches, any of his promos. So this is my first impression of him. Um, I am interested in this, and typically I would say this will be a nothing match. But to be fair, I don't mind it mainly because who else is Obafemi is going to face? Like he has no one else to fight. There's no one else for him to fight really. So this is honestly the best decision that they could really possibly make, to be honest. So I'm not even mad at the decision. Very interested to see how this plays out. Now I don't know who's gonna defend what title. Is it gonna be Oba defending his title? Is it gonna be Moose defending his? Or is it just not gonna be a non-title match? I don't know how they're gonna book this, but I am interested nonetheless. Also, we are getting No Quarter Catch Crew going to be facing off against the Hardys next week, so that should be very interesting as well. And also, Moose is going to have a match against Lexus King next week as well, so it's going to be very interesting to see those matches. I'm assuming both TNA talents will win. I'm assuming Moose and the Hardys will win, mainly because they're both champions. It just wouldn't make sense for them to lose, I'm assuming. But Moose is definitely winning. It's more so the Hardys, but I think the Hardys will win. But nonetheless, I'm very interested to see how this plays out. After this, we end up getting Jada Parker, Carmen Petrovich, and Kalani Jordan in a triple threat match, number one contendership match for the North American Women's Championship. This was a solid match. Towards the end of the match, Jada Parker ended up hitting her. I don't know what the move is called, but basically, it's basically when she, hooks the opponent in between the turnbuckles and then basically slams her ass on her opponent. She ends up hyping herself up after she does it to Kalani, which allows Carmen Petrovich to swoop in, pin Kalani, picking up the victory. After this, we end up getting Kalani and Jada Parker. They end up brawling all the way to the outside, continuing their feud. But then after this, you end up getting Carmen ended up getting attacked by Fatal Influence, which was very weird. I didn't understand that. The only logic I could think of is that she's the number one contender, but I still don't understand why they attacked Carmen Petrovich. But they attacked her. Then you get Julia and Stephanie. They end up coming out trying to help, but they end up getting overpowered due to the numbers advantage. Then you get Jordan Grace ends up coming out to make the save. This ends up setting up the main event, a 6-woman tag match. I do like what they're doing with Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker. I do like further that story. This, however, I didn't mind it. I understood why they did it. This was just a way to get Jordan Grace in the ring to face someone. This was all that was. It was nothing more to it. I understand why they did it, but I really didn't care for it because it's very predictable how the match was going to come out anyway. So I really didn't care for it, but I understand why they did it. This was just to get Jordan Grace on the show to be able to have a match to showcase her. Makes sense, and this also furthers the Kalani and Jada Parker feud. So I understood why they did it. After this, we end up getting Ricky Starks. Well, I should say his new name because he does have a new name now, which is Ricky Saints. Um, Ricky Starks, his contract signing, he was, he ends up, sharing some words to the NXT crowd, but he ends up getting interrupted by Ethan Page. Ethan basically ends up saying that he's trying to pull a power move like he did back when he first arrived to NXT, having a contract where his first official match is an NXT title shot. He basically assumed Ricky Starks is doing the same thing. Then Ricky Starks ends up saying that Ethan Page just must be concerned that there's not enough spotlight for the both of them, and that he's going to basically take Ethan Page's spot. Ethan ends up saying that, he ends up responding back, ends up saying that he respects Ricky, that he's a big star, but he would never reach the heights that he reached, especially debuting in NXT. Then Ricky Starks tries to be the bigger man, ends up, saying that they shouldn't be going back and forth. Then he ends up alluding to his feud with Javon Evans and ends up saying that Javon Evans will eventually come back because guys like Javon Evans don't stay down. Ethan Page was about to respond, but then you end up getting Javon Evans ends up attacking Ethan Page. He comes out attacking the page. They end up fighting, brawling into the crowd. Ricky Starks was about to sign his contract, but then he get interrupted by Wes Lee. The reason why Wes Lee ended up interrupting his contract signing was due to a quick segment earlier where he was getting interviewed, but then the interviewer ended up leaving Wes Lee to interview Ricky Starks, so that's why he ended up interrupting this segment. He interrupts, basically ends up saying that he wanted to show Ricky Starks how things are done around here, and that he needs to basically learn some respect. He needs to learn some respect and learn how things go since he is new, and that since Ricky Starks is new, and that he's been here for a while and he needs to show him the ropes. Ricky Starks isn't really trying to hear it. He's just, he's basically brushing off everything Wes Lee is saying. Wes Lee tries to attack Ricky Starks, but Ricky Starks ends up saying it and ends up taking out Wes Lee. Then later in the show, this ends up being confirmed to be a tag match. Originally, it was going to be a one-on-one match. They end up stating it in the ring, but then later in the show, they end up having a segment where Javon, Ricky, and then Ethan and Wes ended up all coming together. So it's going to be a tag match between Ethan Page, Wes Lee versus Ricky Starks and Javon Evans. It's going to take me some time getting used to saying his new name because his last name is Saints now. I know some people are going to be mad that his name isn't Starks, but it's like, look, they don't have the rights to the name. They got to give him a different name. If so, now if they have the rights to use Starks, then that's just stupid. But most likely they don't have the rights to his name, so of course they gotta change it. And Ricky Saints doesn't sound horrible. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time getting used to, but it's not a horrible, it's not a horrible name change. It's not. It's close to his original name, so I don't mind it. But I'm excited for Ricky. I'm excited for Ricky in NXT. I can't wait to see what he does. I am shocked that he is a baby face to a degree, mainly due to, I'm going to discuss it later on, but because NXT does have a bit of a babyface problem where all of their top guys are baby faces and they have no credible heels. I'm going to talk about that more in the main event. But yeah, I'm excited for Ricky Starks. I can't wait to see how that match turns out. After this, we end up getting Channing Stacks versus Shawn Spears. I'm not going to speak too much about the match because Shawn Spears picked the victory. He won clean, by the way. I think the story is very easily. I think the story is going to be very easily told that Channing Stacks is going to continue to try to prove himself because the Don wants him to do things on his own, but he's going to continue to fail, which is going to cause friction between Tony and Channing because Tony's going to feel like Stacks can't do anything without him, and this is going to make Stacks a little bit, I wouldn't say jealous, but he's going to feel like Tony doesn't appreciate him, which is going to eventually cause the heel turn. That's what I think is going to happen because I like what they're doing with Shawn Spears. I like the turn angle with Izzy Dame. Now they need to execute on it and have Shawn Spears beat Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American Championship, because if you don't have Shawn Spears beat Tony D'Angelo, then this whole story is doesn't make any sense, and this whole story was just a waste of time. But hopefully, and plus, it just makes more sense to do that because, like I said, all of your top guys are all baby faces. There's no credible heels because every top guy is a baby face now. So to make the North American Championship more interesting, you need baby faces that are credible to chase after that championship. So hopefully that is the play, but I could be totally wrong. After this winner, I'm getting Eddie Thorpe versus Andre Chase. This match got official due to they've been telling the story with Andre Chase being super depressed because Chase U is no more, and they keep having these two guys keep trying to get the old Mr. Chase back, the old Mr. Chase back, bring Chase U back or whatever. I don't even know their names. That's how irrelevant they are, but they are pushing these guys for whatever reason. They're clearly telling the story of Andre Chase either getting over it or having something happen to him. I don't know, but they end up talking on the behalf of Mr. Chase on making the match official between Eddie Thorpe because Eddie Thorpe ended up making some comments about Mr. Chase, and that alluded to this match. Towards the end of the match, actually, Andre Chase was about to do the Chase U kicks. He was doing the Chase U chant, but in the right when he was doing it, he ends up stopping because he realized Chase U is over. This allowed Eddie Thorpe to take advantage to pick up the victory. Yeah, I don't know what the end goal is with this because they've been pushing this for a while now. They had some angle like a couple months ago when Andre Chase was like leaving the Chase U room, and then someone called his name and he smiled. We never got a follow up on that, so I'm assuming that angle is dead. and Duke Hudson isn't around anymore. He got released. So I don't know what they're doing with this angle. I don't even know what the end goal could be. Because unless it's going to be a gimmick change, I don't understand this. Like, unless he's going to open a new school, like, I don't understand what we're doing here. I feel like it's dragging to a point. He's still over with the crowd, but I kind of just feel like we're dragging. I'm hoping this is not another Malik and Idris storyline. I know you guys are probably like, who? Yeah, I know. I hope it's not another that storyline where they just drag, and then we get no payoff. So I don't know what the end goal is here, but I hope it leads to something. After this, we end up getting the main event: Julia, Stephanie, Jordan Grace versus Fatal Influence. I'm not going to speak about the match. The babyfaces win, which is very obvious. The main thing I want to talk about is the main event scene. Now, the women's division is very stacked and it's very talented. The best women's division in all of wrestling, which is true. The issue, I do think it's a bit overrated to a degree, mainly in their booking, only because all of the top people are all baby faces, which makes the booking a little one dimensional to a degree because all you have is Jordan Grace, Zarya, Stephanie Becker, Julia. That's all your baby faces. Then you have everyone else who are good, but they're not credible enough to really face anyone. It's the same thing with the men because all the credible men, Tony D'Angelo, Trick Williams, Oba Femi. Now Oba is tricky because he's more of a tweener, but he's more of a babyface right now due to the current story. And then there's another Javon Evans, who I would really consider a main eventer, Ethan Page, and now Ricky Starks. All of them are babyface. There's no credible heels on neither side, which is something they really need to fix. Either building up a new star or whatever the next signing they do, make him a heel, make him or her a heel. They should have made Zarya of one of them, Zarya, Stephanie, whoever, one of them, they should have been a heel. Same thing with Ricky Starks. I feel like I understand why he's a babyface, but he probably should have been a heel as well. But I understand why he's a babyface. I get it, but someone needs to turn heel because way too many top babyfaces. They have no credibility in the heel scene. Then after this, we end up getting the ending of the show where we end up getting the group from Vengeance Day. They ended up not attacking. Well, they did attack some people. They ended up attacking the tag division, but at the end of the show, they ended up destroying Ava's office, and they end up writing on the wall, "No one is safe." I like what they're doing here. I like this angle. This has a lot of potential, long as it's booked right. I like the idea. I can't wait for them to reveal themselves. Now, we know one of the people, which is Dion Lennox. We just don't know the other people, and we don't know their names. So this is very interesting. Some people gave this more of a Shield vibe, which I actually kind of understand. I'm very interested in this story. Like I said, this has a very high ceiling, but this could also be very messed up. I'm hoping that my issues with the heels in the men's division are fixed with this because this could easily fix your heel men's division problem. But hopefully, hopefully they end up booking this right. But I could be proven wrong. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions below. Make sure you like, comment, drop. But yeah, that's it. This was an overall great episode of NXT. I really enjoyed the show. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. But yeah, that's it.